Hi guys. So Jeremy Corbyn has been reinstated into the Labour Party. We know that he was recently kicked out just over a month ago, and I think this is going to be extremely damaging to Keir Starmer and the Labour Party itself. Now, I'm going to show you this report where you're going to hear from people both within and outside the Labour Party and hear their reaction, and also Keir Starmer's reaction himself. So let's hear what they had to say.
Given that Jeremy Corbyn in a statement has just said that the scale of anti-Semitism was, quote, dramatically overstated for political reasons by our opponents, what are you going to do now to show that you are serious and that Jeremy Corbyn has no place in or near the Labour Party?
Kate, I'll look carefully at what Jeremy Corbyn has said in full, but I've said a moment ago, and I'll say it again, those that deny there's a problem are part of the problem.
Mr Corbyn was suspended that same afternoon, but now, after lobbying from his allies to get his case heard quickly, a panel of the party's ruling body has reinstated the former leader's membership. Tweeting about the news, Mr Corbyn said, "I'm pleased to have been reinstated in the Labour Party and would like to thank party members, trade unionists and all those who offered solidarity. Our movement must now come together to oppose and defeat this deeply damaging Conservative government."
You see here, he doesn't mention anything about anti-Semitism in the party. He doesn't mention the reason that he was kicked out. Now, those on the left within the Labour Party will say it wasn't because of anti-Semitism, it was because of Labour's loss in the last general election. And I believe it's a mixed bag. I think there are a number of different reasons why he was kicked out. I think what he said about anti-Semitism was probably the last straw. But he was extremely damaging to the party. And I think reinstating him was a bad idea. But let's hear what others have to say.
But his readmission has those who left because of anti-Semitism asking what's changed.
This is the wrong decision. How can you have faith in a process that arrives at a decision like this? The Labour Party, in the end, has got a choice. Does it want the person under whose leadership the Labour Party was poisoned by racism, broke the law in its treatment of Jewish people? Does it want him in the party? Yes or no? That's a question.
And others asking crucially, what happens now?
Well, the Jewish community are looking at this and feel very disappointed indeed. They had high hopes that there would be change, but Jeremy Corbyn's readmission to the Labour Party without any apology suggests that nothing at all is any different.
In response, Sir Keir Starmer tweeted, "I will not allow a focus on one individual to prevent us from doing the vital work of tackling anti-Semitism. When I stood as leader of the Labour Party, I was clear that my first priority would be to root out anti-Semitism. It still is."
So this is a disaster for Keir Starmer because he had kicked someone out. He's responsible for the party, so he takes ultimate responsibility. He kicked out the former leader, and now, he's been undermined, and the former leader has been reinstated. Keir Starmer said anyone who, as at the beginning of this report, anyone who denies it is part of the problem. Jeremy Corbyn was part of the problem. Now, what is the real reason why he has been reinstated? It's because within the Labour Party you have mainly two wings. You have the moderates and you have the left. And the left fear that their power is dissipating, their power is continually being reduced, and the moderates want to take over. There's a power struggle, and they see that this is a huge victory for them. They have their guy back in. Now, I think this is a disaster for the Labour Party for a number of reasons. First of all, it demonstrates that Keir Starmer's power is extremely limited. He's not in charge. He's not in control. And this is going to be... who's going to take advantage of this? Boris Johnson and the Conservatives. The first thing is going to be, I thought you were dealing with anti-Semitism. Well, you're not, because you let this guy back in again, who was kicked out. Why was he kicked out and then let back in again? This is going to be a distraction. Instead of holding the government to account, Keir Starmer is going to have to apologise and make excuses for Jeremy Corbyn. how does Jeremy Corbyn actually help the Labour Party? What benefit is having him back in? You know, he could campaign outside, he could, you know, organise, he could support the left from outside. But having him back, you know, is he going to be back in Parliament? Is he going to be asking questions during, you know, debates? How does this help? Every time we're going to see him, it's going to be a focus on him as an individual, and it's going to create problems for Keir Starmer's possibility of actually holding Boris Johnson to account, and hopefully in the future winning a majority. Jeremy Corbyn presided over the worst result for Labour since 1935. People were happy with Labour policies. They just didn't want to vote for Jeremy Corbyn. Now, I know there are people on the left who will say, yes, but that's because the media poisoned people's minds. And I completely understand that, and I agree with you when you say that. But you can't have a leader who had, what was it, a -60 or -70 approval rating. You know, you would have been better actually if before the election if Jeremy Corbyn had just quit and the Labour Party went ahead with no leader. They would have actually, it wouldn't have probably been as bad. People were saying on the doorstep, I'd vote for the Labour Party, but not for him as leader. He had too much baggage with him. He was too disliked. And you can't win elections with that on that type of footing. You need a strong leader, you need a charismatic leader. And he was charismatic within the Labour Party, but not with the general public. So you can, once again, you can say, well, it wasn't his fault because the media poisoned the minds of people, but that's not going to help. You can't just use it as an excuse. You have to create a charismatic figure then. You have to create someone who's able to win over the public. Because, once again, just having the Labour supporters are not going to get you into power. You need to win over the public itself. And once again, I think the idea of having Jeremy Corbyn in Parliament, in the Labour Party, is just damaging to Keir Starmer. It undermines his position. And, of course, the Conservative Party and Boris Johnson are going to jump on this. And every time Keir Starmer attempts to hold Boris Johnson to account, he will be undermined by Jeremy Corbyn's existence within the party. I understand this is a victory for Corbynistas, the left within the Labour Party, but at what cost? Yes, we got our guy back in. To hell with our possibilities of actually winning a general election. I think this is extremely damaging. I want to know your comments in the comments section. Let me know. Thanks a lot.